Folks, the weather is about to change in a way you won't believe. But first, let me tell you about what's happening right now. A major Arctic blast is sweeping across the entire country. We're talking extreme cold and shattered temperature records. Millions of people are affected, especially in the southeast. Now, you might not believe this, but it's true. Iguanas are falling out of trees all over Florida. The cold stuns them, and down they go. We're also seeing crazy snowfall in the Carolinas. But here's the thing, folks. The pattern is about to shift. Stick with me, because at the 5-minute mark, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to prepare for what's coming. The jet stream is taking a major turn this week. This will change who gets big snow to start February, and who faces the most intense cold over the next week. Now, that's not all. Here's what really matters. The polar vortex is gearing up for another major blast. We're expecting an even larger shot of cold air in mid-February. Scientists are tracking something called a stratospheric warming. Don't worry about the fancy name. Here's what it means for you. The vortex could split into 2 separate circulation centers. When that happens, we get brutally cold air pushing south. In today's forecast, I'm breaking down this major pattern change. You'll know exactly what to expect for your area. Now, before we talk about what's coming, let me share what happened yesterday. It was something else. That winter storm really overperformed in North Carolina. Areas near Greensboro and Charlotte got 12 to 18 inches of snow. That's 1.5 feet, folks, in the Carolinas. Now, Raleigh wasn't as fortunate. They had what we call a dry slot. Most areas there only saw 1 to 3 inches of snow. Some isolated spots picked up 5 to 6 inches, though. Over near Cape Hatteras, many areas got over 1 foot. Those are big numbers for the Carolina coast, friends. South Carolina and Georgia also saw some decent snowfall. Columbia and Myrtle Beach got hit pretty good. Here's something that made me smile. You know what people were using to clear their driveways? Leaf blowers. When you're not used to snow, you get creative, right? Now, let's talk about the next few days. This is important. We're about to see a major weather pattern change. This will affect nearly everyone across the United States. Let me explain what's happening with our jet stream. Think of it as a river of air high up in the atmosphere. Right now, we have a big dip across the eastern part of the US. That dip is letting Arctic air flow all the way to Florida. And boy, is it cold down there. This morning, dozens of temperature records are being broken in Florida. Almost the entire state is below 30 degrees this morning. It's what I call an iguana. Emergency down there? But here's the good news. Late tomorrow and Tuesday, our weather pattern is going to start changing. The jet stream will shift from that big dip to a different flow. It'll stretch from Washington state back into the southeast. What this means for you folks is quieter weather for a few days. We won't have any organized storm systems developing. But don't get too comfortable. Wednesday and Thursday, that's when our next shot of Arctic air and snow arrives. This will mainly hit the Ohio Valley and mid-Atlantic regions. Another Arctic blast will push down into the southern plains. All along the East Coast, temperatures will drop again. We're talking a significant temperature drop, friends. By the end of the week, our pattern favors a lot of snow, especially from the northern plains. Over to the northeast, we're returning to the pattern we saw back in December. That means favorable conditions for snowfall in the Midwest, the Northeast, and across the Great Lakes region. A ridge will be building over the Rockies and West Coast. Now here's what I promised to tell. On you at the 5-minute mark. If you're on the West Coast, you'll stay warmer and drier. But folks on the East Coast, you need to prepare. Below average temperatures are coming back this weekend. Another significant Arctic blast plus more snowfall. I know you're tired of hearing me say Arctic blast. Trust me, I'm tired of saying it, but we'll be saying it even more after this current Arctic blast leaves tonight and tomorrow. The cold air will stick around the East Coast. at least through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Another cold front will sweep across Texas into the northeast. Temperatures will fall again by 20 to 30 degrees. That's right, folks. More cold air is on the way. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, a strong low-pressure system will develop over the northeast. Here's what that means. Snowfall could hit New England, the Great Lakes, and Midwest. On top of that, another big shot of Arctic air will build in. If you're in the mid-Atlantic, Northeast, or Ohio Valley, it's going to be bone-chilling cold this coming weekend. By next week, that cold air could linger in the Northeast. We're looking at a brutal stretch of weather ahead. For the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, the next 7 to 10 days are going to be challenging. Let me show you the numbers. Today, most of the East is seeing this temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average. That's significant. Friends, by the middle of the week, another shot of Arctic air will stretch from Texas back into the Northeast. Not quite as strong, but our next Arctic blast will be much more significant. That arrives next weekend. Now, let's talk about the snow. Over the next 7 days, our weather will be very interesting. It won't be as active as the last 2 weeks with those big storms. Instead, we'll have several different shots of snowfall. It all begins tomorrow with light to moderate snow expected across the northern plains and the Midwest. A high-pressure system will bring more cold air into the Midwest. Tuesday night and early Wednesday, a weak low-pressure system will form in the Ohio Valley. Here's what to expect. Pretty minor snowfall for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Maybe a couple inches for most of you. A few locations might see 3 to 4 inches, but generally, Tuesday's not looking like a major snow event. Just more snow on top of what you've already seen this winter. Tuesday night and early Wednesday, some snow is possible in Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. Those areas really got shortchanged by the last winter storm. Hardly any snow at all. Late Wednesday and early Thursday, we might have lingering moisture. In the Carolinas, bringing more snow to Virginia and the Appalachians. Maybe parts of North Carolina too. But this won't be a major storm. Just light snow that might add up to an inch in isolated spots. Friday should be the quietest day of the week, folks. We're not expecting any major weather events on Friday, but this is an important day to keep watching. 2 different weather systems will be coming out of Canada. Our jet stream will be angled from the west and northwest. This will allow snow systems to move across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast on Thursday and Friday. This is our next big shot of snowfall, friends. And it's hitting areas that really haven't seen much snow recently. I'm talking about the Midwest. Friday morning could bring heavy snowfall to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Upper Michigan. Another snow system will be moving over to the Northeast. Depending on how these 2 systems come together, we could see widespread snow across the Midwest and Ohio Valley, even into the Northeast on Friday and early Saturday. This could reach as far south as North Carolina and Virginia. On Saturday, that snow should linger around New England. It could actually form a pretty intense storm just east of there. We'll have to watch how that storm develops on Saturday and Sunday. If it happens, it'll be very windy across the Northeast, which means it'll feel even colder in those areas, friends. Beyond that, things become more uncertain. But here's the deal. Around the middle of February, I think we'll see more storms with a lot more snowfall. February is notorious for this. The polar vortex loves to unleash very cold air in February. Over the next week or so, we're likely going to see what scientists call a stratospheric warming event that could allow this Arctic air mass to pinch and move south. If that happens, we could have a pretty big Arctic blast sometime around the middle of February. This is definitely something we'll be watching closely. The models are hinting at some very cold air mid-month, and the stratospheric warming would explain exactly why. So here's what I want you to remember, folks. make sure you're still ready. Winter is nowhere near done. February is one of the more active months for snow, ice, and Arctic air. Things will stay very interesting. Let me give you the key takeaways before we wrap up. First, expect another Arctic blast this coming weekend, especially if you're in the mid-Atlantic or Northeast. Second, multiple shots of snowfall are coming over the next week. Midwest and Great Lakes, you're in the target zone. Third, keep an eye on mid-February for an even bigger cold blast. In our next forecast, I'll update you on that weekend storm system and show you exactly who's going to get the heaviest snow. Until then, stay warm out there. Check on your neighbors, especially the older folks on your street. Make sure you have enough supplies and your heating system's working. We'll get through this together. Friends, stay safe out there.